All right, here we go. Welcome to Nycos D&D, the I-9 COVID-19 incursion episode of Dawn Guard. Today's episode, Chasing the Great Danger. Our cast,
Highway
I'm
to
going to
the
have
danger zone.
nice.
Dum dum da dum dum
Today,
da dum da dum da dum dum.
wow, that's a different one. All right, so we've got the president apparently, and as well as Tom Cruise in our audience today. And from the picture, we're going to go with uh, Umara. Give us a description of the picture, the background of that photo. It's a very compelling image of Umara, and tell us about that. And then introduce yourself, character name, class, race, and what you are doing this week.
What am I doing what?
This week in campaign.
In campaign? Okay, I'm like, weekend, I'm doing Animal Crossing.
Shh. You do that all the
Sacrilege!
time.
Sacrilege!
No, that does. She does that all the time. That's a default. So.
All right, so hi, I'm Allie. I play Umar Brightwood, the ancestral barbarian. It's been a minute. Druid, level 19.
It's been 6 days since the last time you talked.
It's been a while. And this photo is fan art of Moana by Yanaka. I just found it looking online, and that's the name that pops up. So I'm just trying to give them a little bit of credit for the art that I'm using.
All right, and then what are you doing this week in campaign? What's your where are we going for you in reference to story?
So Umara is going through a transitional change. She wants to figure out how to get from point A to point B, which she knows is not the point. It's the in between point A and point B. So essentially getting to godhood. And probably a lot of reflection, a lot of trying to do research on the prisms, because she thinks that it has something to do with godhood, since they're not of this world. So it just kind of makes her think that there's some kind of connect to the
artifacts, right?
Yeah.
Fair
That.
enough.
I'm trying to be flowery, but
Exactly.
so that's what I'm going to be doing this week.
All right, Gene, go ahead and tell us about that stunning picture that you've got and why you chose it, and then give us your character name, class, race.
Well, Mary is ginger haired and aquamarine eyes, and I found this by searching for girl or female with ginger or red gold hair, and then searching for the color of eye that I wanted.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, there was no name on it. It's just kind of a stock photo.
Fair enough. So thank you about that. Now tell us what you're doing this week.
I'm finishing up consecrating a temple. And then I'm going down to where she lost her first child, which wasn't really hers, but that was the same as losing a child. And she has one acorn left of the golden oak in Elwindale, and she's going to plant it and hopefully find a druid that can grow it up for her to replace the tree that was lost.
Fair
and
enough.
the child that was lost with it.
Fair enough. And finally, our tall, dark, and hammerful there.
All right. I play Cord Brobdingnac. I found this image while looking up what the hell I don't know how to pronounce the guy who created Sauron, but it's fan art by Hegel C. Belzer.
Nice.
I hope I'm pronouncing that right. You can find him at www.somewebdomain.com.
Nice. Well done. Well done. And what is
now everybody's going to look up somewebdomain.com.
It represents use of excessive force is the easiest way to victory.
That sounds like a cordism. Definitely sounds like a cordism.
If your hammer is bigger than your enemy, victory is assured.
I see. And
I
what
would
are you doing this week in campaign? What's your
What am I doing?
yeah? What
I
are we
am
doing?
going to help the giant race retake the highlands of Chuntroa so that they can make me a Tarask killing weapon.
Aha! Alrighty. So we are in one of the vales of the giants. All right.
Yes.
I'd
That's right.
also like to side note
Yeah.
that the Moana photo is not just ooh Moana. It's actually supposed to be a representation of Umara until I can actually afford fan art.
Of your own until somebody comes up and goes, "Oh, I'd love to do a portrait of Umara for the stream," right?
Exactly.
All right, so that hint is out
I
there. And
don't
anybody
believe in
that
fan art.
anybody that watches our stream and knows an artist, let them know that we are willing to embrace the idea of people giving visual imagery to Nycos. A quick background reference to the image that's behind all of the Nycos streams is the artwork for the Starbucks, a creature I created for a soon to be released module. Hint, hint. I'm giving myself pressure to actually get it finished.
Oh, cool.
And so that image was actually created by one of our loyal fans and a supporter of the stream, who himself is a cartoonist. His name is Nathaniel Nally, Nalley. I mention that because he is my nephew and does his own anime style cartoon series. So that more information is available at the Patreon for that. So I'll get you more information on that later. But yes, so we do have the beginnings of some fan art, and so those of you that are in my stream, hint hint, if you go and check out his channel, and I'll put the link up for you guys in a minute, and then you can go and check it out, and he'll do artwork for you as one of the levels of his support. So if you become even a $5 supporter, he'll actually draw pictures for you. And the frequency of the art he'll do is based on what level of support you give him. So I throw a little chunk of change at him, and so he does creatures for us for Nycos. So
Cool.
I give him just enough to wet his whistle.
that's exactly right. Just tease them with enough dollars, and it's amazing what work that can get done for you. Alrighty, so we are currently therefore on the brink, on the very edge of the nation of Shantra'a. You just crossed over, and you realize that the area that is Shantra'a is predominantly controlled by the Rook, but that there are smatterings of what was apparently the original ordning, if you will, the original hierarchy of giants that lived in this realm. And something broke the world a long, long time ago and have put them in a dire state. And you've actually come to a meeting, have you not, or indirectly to a place where the giants are actually talking about their
There was
attempt
two
there.
hill giant chiefs, and there was a fire giant with a broken sword.
Mm-hmm. Well, you'd recognize the fire giant. You've met him before.
Yeah,
You met him before.
I met his buddy who died in the arena after we banished him from Occipitus.
Right. Right.
They said they had an antidote, which is why they were ready to fight back against the Rook for the spider's venom. And for some reason, they wanted my help.
Why did that surprise you?
Well, I don't mean to brag, but I am just as strong as any giant. But I don't know. I mean, like, I'm half their size, so I don't.
What do you think?
Might.
What do you think that the giants might want of someone who can pack their kind of a wallop, but has a smaller size? What possible reason would a giant race want with a slightly more diminutive brethren in terms of, I don't know, dealing with a race that is A, antithetical to the giant cause, and B, smaller than the giants themselves?
I'm guess.
they want you to, I don't know, spy on slash attack the rook in their lair. Just a thought.
Um, I mean, they're not gonna get their money's worth if they send me to goddamn spy on the rook. But I mean, well, I guess I can ask.
Yeah, you could always do
You're the
that.
strongest man on Nycos.
Oh, spoken by the strongest woman on Nycos.
All right, all right. What was that you offered for me to sell you the barbarian?
Yes.
I'm reconsidering my initial.
Your original aversion to slavery is suddenly slipping.
Hey
I'll
now.
make an exception. All right. Well,
Once upon a time, you were a dragon, and I could easily sell you.
I mean, who wouldn't want to buy me? All right. You want my help with what?
What? We want your help. They're, by the way, feasting. That's why I'm talking like this. No, I was evil and just ate an Oreo by myself. So.
Fully work.
11sies. This is supper before dinner.
And, who was it? It was Benjamin Franklin that had like a 20 snack system or something like that.
Well, it's very European. That whole Hobbit thing came directly from the way Europeans eat meals. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, 11sies, second breakfast, afternoon tea, brunch. You gotta have all those different reasons to nibble all the way through the day.
The more you know.
Yes, and there goes that reading rainbow again. Nycos spreading across the world. All right, so can you run down your list of names of who's here? Because I don't have my list open yet.
Jackson, the frog person we rescued, named Bate, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
I don't think I got the names of any of the giants.
Really?
Yeah, no. Okay, no, I did. I'm sorry. Narn is the chief of this giant clan.
Okay.
Yeah. Narn. I didn't get the name of the fire giant. All right. Do you have a place where more of you are, or we could meet more of you?
Well, you are only right now at basically the hall of the hill giants. So this is just one of their many small holds. And I say small, of course, it's expansive. As you remember, we talked about the fact that the actual structure is something like close to 4 acres in coverage, with wooden spars. You know, the height of the building is sympathetic to giants, and there is a 4-story tower on the northeast corner of it, from which they can see everything around. There's a clearing around the outside of the fence line that covers, all told, you probably have a 20-25 acre spread here.
We need something that looks more like an actual, I don't know, giant uprising instead of a hunting lodge.
Well,
no offense.
Yes, but you have to realize that we are not, because of our long strides and stuff, we don't have to have locations that are close together like the mortals do. You know, you guys have a town every 14 miles or so, and that's not the case for giants. So the fire giant, of course, does want to eventually go to his now overrun hold. But that's actually the issue, is that they were really glad to find you guys because, number one, you're sympathetic to the idea of joining forces, but more importantly, that you're small enough that you could actually infiltrate.
Right.
And
Well,
Do,
friend, I am eager to enlist your services to create the weapon, as I am on a mission from the gods. So, if you would tell me the location of this stronghold, I would be more than more than glad. I think that's what I'm looking for to destroy anyone who set up camp there.
well, okay. So, do you want me to give you a physical map to the location? Do you have magic ways of traveling so that all I have to give you is a name? I don't know how you mortals travel. I mean, the fact that you're here and yet I know that you had said you're from as far away as the now destroyed town of Cauldron. That's a bit of a hike. So you already know
Yes.
how to cover land. You do have horses with you, so
Yes. Map will suffice. Thank you.
okay. So basically, he'll do what I'm about to do, which is go to our current map and we'll talk about where it is, reference to where you are right now. In the meantime, while I'm reaching for that, Gene, your work in the valley, how expansive do you see your effort? Are you like putting out pamphlets? Are you sending out messages to local towns? Are you petitioning people to volunteer? Are you trying to recruit? What's your strategy for? Uh,
Well, she brought representatives of all the Vales to here. She says it's a new temple. There's they've got all the Vales um, in this one temple in Concordia,
mm-hmm.
and that has been abandoned and neglected for a long time. I've started cleaning it up, but I was thinking that each one of you who so desire can come and help in the process of restoring this temple to functional use. Uh, Once that is done, what my hope is some of the extra people around Bright Bridgeton will perhaps might want to resettle here.
Yes. Of course, I'll be stopping by to set up my own shrine.
Yes, God cord.
Alrighty.
Anyway, that's what she's starting with first. First, get it cleaned up, make it look like something, and then from there, maybe people that came want to find a house or something that they can clean up and claim for their own. Um, or I don't know if quarters are actually part of this temple, or is it just to come in and then everybody leaves?
Well, the town, the actual city of Concordia is pretty much abandoned. There's not a lot of actual people that live here still.
Yeah, I
It's
understand.
the magics that provide the climate have also been somewhat instrumental in keeping the place from falling into terrible ruin. So there certainly would be appropriation as people come in and pick locations. But if you want to try to start master planning the city as far as where you're going to allow people to live or things like that, that's a macrocosmic decision on your part.
Yeah,
If you want that kind of detail, then you can build it. Otherwise, people will just take
yeah. Well,
possession of whatever is convenient and then deal with their own problems internally. Since you, as the Green Veil, are appreciative of this temple structure, which puts you guys in the center, um, obviously the other groups are going to want to kind of play the you
play
call
up
it.
their own.
Well, and no, they're actually going to be wanting to, pardon the phrase, suck up to you a bit because they want to make sure that you don't give somebody else advantage over them. Even though they ideologically know that Green Veil is ubiquitous, nonetheless they like to think that the Green Veil that associates with them
Favors them better than
exactly
anybody else.
exactly. So
And she
you have to
knows,
realize that this is going to in the long term. If you don't go to a strict regimentation, you will end up with Byzantine interconnections between the groups that defies any
okay,
convention.
Yeah, and she's going to set it up. Everyone is equal in this temple.
So the good news is that if you're going to be setting it up, then you get to do the actual work of developing the plan.
Okay.
Therefore, that will quote give you, Gene, something to work on while I'm dealing with the minutia of the role play with these
Yeah.
other guys. So periodically, I'll come back to you from time to time to talk about what you see as your accomplishments and introduce you to some of the key players you'll be working with. And when I do, I'm going to ask you to put down their names so that you'll be able to follow them week over week.
Okay.
They will be your what I'm going to call the Council of the Veils. And they'll be
Okay.
the nine other high priests,
Okay.
and then we'll go from there. Because if you build it right, they'll treat each other with respect and not too much disdain. Even those that don't like each other or disagree won't necessarily harm each other. But if you don't put a lot of detail into it or a lot of thought into it, you'll end up with
Oh no, there'll be plenty of thought because where she's basing it on what are our commonalities.
good, 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 good. All right.
Uh, What is it that we share that we can all agree on?
Meanwhile, Umara, in your little time here in the Giants lair, you've gotten a chance to eat feast like you haven't feasted in a long time, and all of that. Is there anything in particular you'd like to discover from among the Giants that you may not be able to get with Cord directly involved?
What intel would I know about the Giants specifically that
Okay,
uh
so you would know that the Goliaths, and I'm starting to use the term Golian because it doesn't have that problem of confusion with Goliath. The Golian, which are predominantly all over the area of Corum, south of here, are not as big as these guys. These are the true giants. These are the creatures of legend, and although you don't see any here that are of the physically corrupted versions that are sometimes associated with myth, those are called by a different name. Those are the I'm going to use the modern terminology for them. The Nephilim, the Nephi are individually corrupted uh, giant forms who rule just by power. They don't have any priority as far as the power levels in Ordning mean nothing to the Nephi.
okay.
So these are not of those groups. This is a new way of looking at giants. It's almost like the hierarchy of royalty.
Mm.
That the more powerful and more clearly identified a giant race becomes, the more up the channel they go. So a fire giant is a not just one but two or three steps up from the hill giants. So it'd be like having the mayor come and visit a family gathering.
So it's kind of a Darwinism of but in strength of the Giants.
Right. Strength and I guess you'd call it dedication to their craft. So fire giants tend to work with the forges and that kind of thing, whereas stone giants are your masons and so on.
Got it. Wait, so we're not with the fire giants, correct? Or are there fire giants nearby?
There's exactly one fire giant here.
Um, I'd like to see if he knows anything about the prisms.
Good call. All right, so the giants kind of scoff, and particularly, did we come? Do we have a name for him? Cord, did you have a name for him? Because if not, I'm digging. But
No.
okay. So you'll want to write this into the notes. I'm gonna go get the name for him.
I don't know if I can pronunciate that.
Exactly, it's a really long name too, isn't it? No, let's go with Glurzar.
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 Yes.
Glur. Or maybe it's ER.
No, it's AR.
No,
Zar.
AR?
Zar is AR.
Glurzar, and his familial name is Bluthor. Bluthor.
Who's Bluthor?
Bluthor's his family. That's that.
That's the fire
Oh,
giant.
that's their family name.
Right.
Got it. All right. I'm gonna ask him about the prisms then, and see if he knows anything about crafting. It talks about folding and all that, but it doesn't really go into specifics about like missing components.
Right. Well, the first thing is he'll want to know why you want to know about crystals, because fire giants, their auspice is in the forges and working with metals and such. So if you were to ask, for example, about Lim, Demonarch, Vex, etc., you'd get a much more direct response. But because you asked about the prisms, he wants to know what do you know about them. Because if I'm going to answer your question, I need to know what you already already know, so that I do not feed you over much. Giants don't tend to be really talkative.
So I know mostly about the process of putting the limb into the through the engine and such like that.
So when
like
you start talking about magic production, he's saying, you're talking about of metal. That is his expertise. So we actually were doing that before Demonarch was even known. We had figured out how to forge magic into metal. So the most ancient of artifacts already have that kind of a gift to it. The fact that later on you guys, especially the mortals, came up with this more precise way of focusing the energy, ironically meant you're working with less of it, and so your items, although being more powerful, technically are less magical.
That I don't follow.
Well, no. And he pats you on the head and says, "That unfortunately, dearie, that's part of your cultural limitations. Is that you can't see and things that are right in front of your eyes until your eyes are opened." And so, now when it comes to the reason why the prisms don't really come into it is that prisms were a byproduct of the discovery process. They were actually uncovered in the area known as. Let me go pull up my map again. Yeah, in the Vale of Tirkun. That's why the city was eventually cursed, and has been so for as long as time has stood.
Where is Tirkun?
Tirkun?
From?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
from
after
us.
Dolgol.
It's south of Dolgol, right? Exactly.
Yeah, but to us, that's.
If you want
I have a map.
You go pull up the map and look at it. Feel free
in character.
Yep.
I have a world map.
Yep. So you can point it out to her. You'll see that there are probably 20 hexes of waste. That was Tirkun. That was the eastern coast of Tirkun.
Just as an FYI, Umara, my goal, the Taurask, is in Tirkun. So we're getting there.
Oh, okay. So we are going that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right.
But anyway, they were originally unearthed there by miners. So they were buried in the in the western mountains of Tirkun. Sorry, the eastern mountains of Tirkun, up against the coastline.
Mm-hmm.
And in their folly, the heroes who attempted to use them ended up basically the equivalent of, in our vernacular, nuking the region. And that's why that area, even now, 7 iterations later, is still a ruin. No one's ever attempted to reclaim the property because they believe it to be cursed of the gods.
I'll be the judge of that.
Frost giant, the fire giant, kind of chuckles at that and says, "I'm sure you would. I'm sure you would." So, in reference to where we are versus where you need to go, if you go up to the maps of Shontroa, you've just crossed out of the what did we call that area to the west? To
The
the east.
breeding, the brood forest.
That
something
brood,
like
yeah,
that?
the brood, the brood forest. Once you pass through that, then on the left side of the map is the one one hex of rough terrain, and then one of smooth. And this location is literally at the southeast corner of that smooth hex. Is where you are currently located. That's almost due west of Concordia. Do you see that?
Sorry, in the map?
Yeah, on the map. There are three the uppermost hexes of softer terrain in Chantraha. There are three that run from northwest to southeast before it cuts back inland.
Let's see if I can pull that up. So you said Chantra
Here. I'll just do it this way. I'll share my map. Makes it easier. Just 2 seconds.
Perfect, because I have a hard time with maps, even in real life. It's terrible. That's how directionally deprived I am.
Directionally deprived. All right. I have shared the map. Can you see it?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So I will. Okay. There's Concordia.
Sure.
Let's see.
There's Chantra.
Annotate. So let's go with.
I need a pencil.
This is where you would find the city of Concordia, where the little star is. Do you see that? Right on top of the C in Concordia. Do you see that I just drew?
Yeah, I see the X
The
and
little
the D.
star.
Little star.
I just put a little gold star.
Oh, you said the little C. Okay.
It's on the C, but it's that little star. Let's see if I can get it.
Yeah, it's just the color is way too similar to the background.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Ah!
That's not what you wanted to do.
That was pretty funny. I didn't even know I could do that. That's pretty funny. I'm just trying to draw an image here, and.
Oh, I'm annotating too.
Okay, cool.
So what was the significance of the XD?
Oh, that?
Yeah.
Memes.
Memes?
Memes.
Oh, memes.
Yeah, memes.
Okay. Oh, XD. Ah. Okay, got it.
Okay, confused me, but okay. So
I thought it was like X marks the spot, and it's like nope, it's a face.
okay, this is not working like I thought it would. Undo. Okay, so anyway.
I got the
Okay, so
gist.
yeah. So okay, thank you. But I was trying to get a color change out of that. How could I change the color? It won't let me change color.
I don't think you can.
No, looks like that's all. So let's switch to this one then. So if you go to due west from here, 1, 2, 3. That's the pass you cross through. Then this is where you ran into them. So this right here is where this hill giant lair is.
Okay, so There's Concordia, and it's just left of it by a couple paces from the sea. 1, 2, 3, 4.5.
roughly.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's almost 6. 1, 2 through the waste, 3, 4 through the mountains, 5, 6 into the wastes. So yeah, 6 hexes away.
Okay.
Anyway, so that is the current hill giant location.
Okay.
Their holding literally isn't even that full hex. They barely control area outside of their boundaries. They have to hunt in the brood forest there. The specific portion here is known as the royal brood. This is where the biggest of the spiders was originally bred. The green area where my mouse is moving around. You see that? Draw. That area is the what's called the royal broods.
The Royal Bridge.
Royal broods. Broods.
Broods.
Where the spiders
Like
are.
brooding.
Yeah, where they bred the really big spiders. All right. So anyway, the place that you know of to be a red fire giant hold. Let me see if I can find a different. I'll do this and try to get a different color out of it. Actually is here. So you'd be crossing through a couple of hexes of rough terrain, probably running into some spider patrols and such, because that's actively under the control of the Rooks, and then make it to the mountain where the fire giant lair is. But it's currently not under fire giant control. It's being held by... wow, that is a nice creepy picture of the current impression of Miri. I had just noticed that.
Oof.
Yeah, that's... Yes. Terrifying. Scarifying.
CJ, it's under, what was it? The title, it was interesting. Talking about, anyway, I did annotate it on the picture where I found it in an article.
Cool. Current locations of the known locations held by the Rook are in these locations: here, here, and here. So you'll be passing through pretty active portion of the Rook holdings, unless you want to backtrack through the mountains like you came in across when you first found Elizabeth and all of that.
We either go through the spiders, or we go through the Rook. I mean,
You either go through the uncontrolled wilds of the brood, or you pass through occupied territory.
We passed through the brood without any trouble last time.
Well, relatively speaking, you did have to fight the Catablopus.
Yeah, that is true. But I got a mask, so that's nice. Let me think. We met a Rook patrol, or at least we met one of them, and he was pretty chill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he warned you though that you were going into occupied territory.
Yes, that is true. I forgot about that.
You also outnumbered him 3 to 1. So.
Let me think. Yeah, I'm just gonna go through the brood forest backtrack.
Gonna backtrack
no
and
sense
then go down the mountain route towards it. Okay. So,
Yeah.
alrighty, let's go back here to. So, you're going to leave in the morning after finishing out the festivities here and dinner and all of that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Anything else you need to gather information wise from these guys? They'll tell you. Oh, you did want to possibly trade for some of the anti venom in dealing with the spiders.
I guess that is true. Yeah.
So, what are you willing to offer and trade for that?
This barbarian. 1 second while I get my character sheet.
Yeah.
What I got?
They'd look over her approvingly and say, "I don't think she would go for that, but okay."
I
Alexa,
have.
alarm off.
Yeah, somebody's alarm's going off.
Yeah, Alexa, alarm off. Well, okay, don't say I did.
Okay.
Alexa, alarm off.
Okay.
In trade for some anti-venom.
Yeah.
I have 100 gold pieces.
Oh God. Okay. We'll give you 100 doses for that.
Great.
Very, very amenable. All right, I'm gonna put that on my character sheet. 100 doses.
Yes, that's roughly 2.5 gallons. You take it by ingestion, and then you have to wait up to 24 hours for the poison to be cleared.
Good. Okay.
That'll work on any venom from any of the arachnids. Will not work on, say, for example, reptile venom or something. Which actually reptiles don't have venom; they have biotoxins.
Toxins and venom. Okay. The night I'm gonna sleep a little wary. Cause
Yeah,
giants.
Yeah, giants, and you're in a foreign land, and you know that historically they ate people and things like that. So you're concerned for Umara's safety, I'm sure.
I mean, again, strongest person on the planet and all.
Yeah.
Person.
Yeah.
Remember, there's a whole bunch of them, and there's 2 of you.
I could take them.
All right. I'm gonna
As
wait.
you're, as you're bedding down for the night, you will hear from someplace within the structure the sweet strains of harp music. A singular harp playing alone someplace.
Oh. I would like to, because I've been paranoid about music as of late.
That's true, you have been.
I'd like to make an Arcana check. I'm not gonna. How can I listen without listening?
You can't.
Damn. Okay. I would
It's
just
tough
like to
to
be.
your ears.
Yeah, but then I can't figure out if
Do it
it's.
quick before a minute.
Okay. That's a 20, so 19.
Alrighty, so the music is hauntingly beautiful, and it sounds like more than 2 hands are playing the harp at the same time. There's just no physical way for the intricacies of the music to be being made by a single pair of human hands.
I'm gonna recreate that little moss thing that I did a while back to cover my ears and go to sleep.
What? No curious cat wanting to go crawling through a giant's lair to see if you could steal their treasure?
No.
What happened to Amara? Holy moly, she's become such a goody two shoes now.
She's learned that it hurts.
It pains, it burns, it freezes. Nice. Okay, so
Oh, I'm just gonna hum the tune and cause. Oh yeah, you're not.
it sounds a little bit like the Beauty and the Beast theme song, "Tale as Old as Time."
Of course. Of course. Not
No
Belle
lullabies.
Notte.
No lullabies.
Play
Yeah.
the theme music from Beauty and the Beast. Alexa, play the theme music for Beauty and the Beast.
I don't think we have those copyrights.
No, we can't really, Gene. Well, we're not. We're on live stream, Gene. You can't.
Okay, never mind.
Just I can say that the term "tale as old as time," and most people know the song from there. So that's the way it starts. But anyway, so it's just beautiful. It's beautiful lyrical music.
Ah, damn it.
Well, I can't hear it because I have my ears.
Plugged up.
Alexa, music off.
Let me see what
All
I
right.
can do.
You hear it as well, Cord.
Damn it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to make a performance check to get through my snoring.
I listen to the comfort of cord snoring.
There you go.
Alexa, music off.
It's just like sounds like a low like rumbling with the moss in my ears.
Sounds like a gyrating avalanche that only happens every 5 seconds.
Gyrating. Okay. Alrighty, so let me shut the map off for a second. I'll come back to it in a minute. And I'll stop sharing. Don't need it right now. Okay, so let's see if I can make my performance check.
C is 8 plus my proficiency plus my con.
Fail.
So you're looking at a DC 19 check.
Ooh.
We're doing Constitution, or no, you're doing a check. So what? It's